Welcome to episode 13 of The Guy Doing Things. The episodes are coming in hot and fast now because we've got a bit of extra time on our hands. This episode is called The Millennial Difference. I'm going to talk to Keagan Stoko in a while. We're going to talk about how we can make a difference as young, let's say up-and-coming people. But get your coffee ready. Welcome once again to episode 13 of The Guy Doing Things. And let's get into it. Okay, so once again, I couldn't do a live interview, obviously, but I do have Keagan on the phone with me. Welcome to The Guy Doing Things, Keagan.
Good morning, Quentin. Thank you for having me on the show. I was quite surprised and happy to receive an invite, so I'm excited to be here.
No, it's going to be cool, man. I just had a chat with Keagan before, and I actually realized now why it would be such a cool collab to do this talk, as it seems like you're involved in a bit of educational technology and development in those areas. But first of all, what did you study and what are you up to now? Are you doing what you studied, or how's that working? Oh goodness, sorry. So what do you study and what are you up to now? Are you actually doing what you studied, or you're doing something different, doing something more creative, or in a different field?
So, to give you a bit of background, for the past 5 years, I was studying at the University of Pretoria. I did a BCom law, and it was good, and I loved my time at university. But about halfway through last year, I came to the realization that this isn't what I wanted to do for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
I realized that I wanted to work on large-scale, high-impact projects. Projects that empower people to go and improve the world around them. And for me, technology is our biggest tool in trying to achieve that.
Yeah.
So halfway through last year, I began teaching myself to program. I got involved in a couple of competitions and some projects, and I fell in love with it. So technology, it fascinates me and excites me on a daily basis. And that's why I'm very jealous that you go to San Francisco.
Yeah.
But if you fast forward a few months now, I've been lucky that I've been fortunate to receive a bursary from a Johannesburg-based education company where I'll be studying computer science through Goldsmith at the University of London while working for this company at the same time.
Yeah, that's an awesome opportunity, man.
It is, yeah. I've been very fortunate that obviously I'm not doing what I studied, but I was able to make that turn and transition into a new industry very quickly.
Yeah.
So that was a concern when I changed my mind, but fortunately things are going to plan this far. So the company that I'm working for, they are involved with the Lego Foundation. So they do some incredible work around South Africa. It's two companies. One is a non-profit where they work with underprivileged children throughout the country. Yeah. So essentially the core of the business is two products. One is called 6 Bricks, which is 6 large Lego blocks, and children are able to do thousands of activities with that. So that's been rolled out on 6 continents, and then the other branch focuses on robotics. I think robotics is growing enormously globally, and this company is responsible for ensuring that it rolls out in South Africa and that the benefits of it are being seen in children in schools throughout South Africa. Sure.
So it is rolled, the 6 Bricks project is also rolled out in South Africa already, or not?
Yes, it is. So it started in South Africa, and it's in schools all over South Africa, and now it's making its way around the rest of the world.
I am super excited. I wish I could go back to school again and work with those things, but hopefully we can implement these stuff at our school. I mean, just working with Legos, that's something that most of the kids love. But if you, partner with an educational background and an educational mindset along with it, they can play and learn at the same time, which I'm sure that's the end goal with this project.
that's the core focus of it, is that, children, they struggle to learn, and different children learn in different ways. And when you incorporate play in that, you tend to see far better results. So, yeah, you'll definitely have to come and have a visit and see what we do. I think you'll enjoy it, and you'll have a lot to take away.
Yeah, thanks, man. And so my podcast, the theme for the day is the millennial difference. So if I'm not mistaken, you also fall in the millennial category like me, or perhaps a year or two out. But the general assumption with regards to millennials is that we have a kind of, a mentality of not necessarily wanting to work hard, but receive the reward for that. But what I've seen from the way that you conducted things, and we've actually known each other from university days, the way that you conducted things was with a big future mindset. And I wanted to ask you, since you're a big fan of the future and a big fan of actually, as you just mentioned, working in high impact projects, how can we prepare for the future right now while still having impact as young people, while people are, the general public are looking at us and, not expecting us to fail, but they're not necessarily expecting us to succeed. How do we prepare for the future and, for having those high impact projects actually come into realization?
I think you're spot on. The future is something that excites me a lot and something that gives me a lot of energy. And I think that's true for a lot of people in our generation. And I think that can be said because it's one of the few things that we can have an impact on, and it's something that we can drive the future as we want to see it. So in thinking about that, it's reminded of a quote from Mark Andreessen. He says, "The world is a very malleable place. If you know what you want and you go for it with maximum energy and drive and passion, the world will often reconfigure itself around you much more quickly and easy than you'd think."
Yeah.
So I think that the key as we move towards the future is the realization that we can bend the world to our will with a surprising degree of success. But most people don't even try that.
Yeah.
People have incredible ability and we all have these unique talents, but a combination of self-doubt and conforming to what the society dictates is good for us prevents most people from ever reaching anywhere near their potential.
Yeah.
So we do receive a lot of criticism from society, but that's also a sense of the fact that we want to do things differently. And differently isn't always bad. Of course, we need to keep in mind the lessons that we learned from previous generations and avoid thinking that we are more intelligent or better than people who lived 1,000 or 100 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But the future is exciting because it provides a lot of opportunity. In saying that, the future is also very unpredictable.
Yeah.
A few months ago, nobody expected us to be in a lockdown. You can see where we are now.
Yeah.
So, regardless of what we do, the future may turn out to be very different. It almost certainly will. So, I think that in preparing for it, we've got to be flexible enough to cope with any changes that may come. So, I suppose that the best preparation for the future is ensuring that you've got a skill set and a mindset that makes you flexible enough to adapt to it.
Yeah. So, you are a millennial, right? Or are you just outside that bracket?
I think I fall just inside. I was born in 96, so
yeah, that's also
millennial then.
Same, yeah. So you also fall under that line of let's say criticism. Let's call it criticism. Maybe it's just maybe skepticism or whatever. But the way you just spoke about it, made me realize that there are a lot of people in our generation that want change. But we need to, as you have said as well, we need to think more creatively with regard to the situations that we're in. How would you encourage more people our age to start thinking more outside the box? I mean, the massive changes happening around us is not necessarily things we're used to. I mean, we thought, global warming or climate change is an issue. But now the next issue is you are literally forced to be inside your own house for a set amount of time, how do you innovate from within your bedroom or within your living room?
Okay, I like that. It's an important question. I think there's a twofold answer. I'll run through both. So, firstly, as you said, we receive a lot of criticism, and with that criticism comes pressure to conform. So, in general, people tend to believe that only a select few people are blessed with the ability to generate these new and insightful and creative ideas. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I think that's absolute nonsense. The world is full of gifted and creative thinkers who have this unique and beautiful perspective of the world, but they suppress it and they hide it away, and that's never seen by the general public. And they need to start sharing this unique perspective more. I think that this is something that tends to happen because society and particularly generations above us are risk averse. So you have risk averse parents who enroll their kids in the same schools and the same extracurricular activities to help them get into the same university so that they can study the same degree and work for the same big companies.
Wow. Yeah.
And that happens time and time again, and for me, I view that as a trap. And I know how easy it is to fall into the trap because it's the exact trap that I fell into by studying something that I only realized 5 years later that this isn't what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
So the problem that happens when this continues to take place in society is that too many of our top people aren't putting their differentiated and unique skill sets to work. So we have too many people who are some of the most talented and intelligent minds of our generation, and they're working on trivial tasks and spending their time in corporations where they're made to feel invisible.
Yeah. They're part of the system.
This trap is difficult to escape because it's very comfortable.
Yeah.
So I think we require more people with convictions to follow through on their unique ideas. And in that, you have people who create new things and they invent and they innovate. And these are the people who inspire and drive progress.
Yeah.
So that was, the issue I see with it. And the solution to that issue is, as I alluded to, you need more people to become creators.
Yeah.
So we spoke earlier about the world being more malleable than we realize. So, and this is where that comes into play, because the people who create are the ones who bend the world to their will. So great creators have this ability to make you see things in a new way. They awaken your senses and they make you feel things that you can't articulate. They lead you into the unknown, which is the future, and they get you excited for the journey.
Yeah.
So as we do this, it's so easy to think that, okay, this is great and this isn't applicable to me, but creativity is applicable to all of us.
Yes.
We are all creators in some capacity. You as a teacher are a creator when you think of new and exciting ways to teach your class. Somebody who's starting a company and is criticized for it for years, they're a creator.
Yeah.
An accountant who's figured out a new way to optimize the audit process is a creator.
Yes.
And of course, you have your writer and your sculptor and a painter and a musician who are working day after day to share their work with the world. So we're all creators, and we all need to embrace this tag a lot more. People need to get out and they need to write and they need to paint and they need to draw or take up hobbies like photography or cooking or writing a song.
Yeah.
The important thing here isn't the actual creative output, it's that people are creating. This is a powerful solution because when you aren't creating, you're stuck in this one-dimensional frame of mind. But when you start creating, you start seeing the world differently. You start looking for beauty and creativity in things and in people, and this leads to thinking outside of the box. Yeah.
What I've experienced with that is that I've learned about being a T-shaped human. So a T has horizontal, vertical skills, which it falls, inside your specific learning area, let's say an accountant or whatever. But then we also need the horizontal skills, which means it gives us breadth. The accountant being able to write a song or being able to be creative, and that's exactly what you just said. So it's awesome that you mentioned that, and I can hear from what I've read as well on your blog is that you value creativity very highly. So what is your blog all about, and how are you changing the world in a creative way through it?
So, like you said, my blog is about creativity and a fast-growing creator economy. A creator economy is, based on the idea of building internet-based businesses and monetizing directly through your audience.
Yeah.
I think this is exceptionally powerful, particularly in a country like South Africa, where we're living in a place where we have one of the highest unemployment rates in the world, and the internet provides this incredible opportunity for people to go out there and realize that they can work on things that they're passionate about, and instead of doing work that bores them and is mundane, they can do this work and they can share it with the world. And there's 4.5 billion people around the world who make use of the internet.
Yeah.
And that makes for an enormous market.
Yeah.
So for me, as I mentioned earlier, I'm passionate about technology, and I'm sure you can hear I'm passionate about creativity. So I'm looking to position myself at this intersection of art and technology, or art and science.
Yeah.
And my blog is a way for me to do it. It's a way for me to write about that journey and take inspiration from great writers and great artists who are already out there.
Yeah.
Picasso saying, good artists borrow and great artists steal. So I found that writing in particular is a fantastic thing, because words are a powerful medium.
Yeah.
And when you use them properly, you're able to evoke emotion and feeling in your readers. And that means that when you do that, the message that you're trying to get across really resonates and sticks with them. So writing is powerful for that, but it's also an extremely good way to develop yourself.
Yeah.
When you write, you put your thoughts on paper, and it forces you to understand them and make them concise and convey them in an easy to understand manner.
Yeah.
So I found that writing is an incredible way to improve the quality of my thinking and my ideas. And if I'm able to inspire people to start writing and start creating, it might have the same effect for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I've also noticed with my writing as well is that something that you think you're knowledgeable about, or something that you know a lot about, when you start writing about it and do a bit of research, you realize, goodness, I've only just touched the surface of this specific topic. So that's also an interesting part of writing to me.
Yeah, the more you do it, as you learn about things, the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know.
Yeah.
I suppose that's not always a bad thing. There's always going to be something new to know, but it's about enjoying that journey of trying to learn as much as you can. Yeah.
And so is there anything that you want to ask me, or that you want to talk about? I've noticed that we read each other's blogs as well, so that we get into a space where we support each other's creative side. And I think more people our age need to do that, need to tap into each other's knowledge sets. I mean, I've went through some of your pages and I'm like, goodness, I never realized this, or I've never thought about it in this way, and it's really cool. So I've been asking a bunch of questions now. Is there something that you want to ask me in return, or that I need to answer you?
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. Makes me happy to hear that.
It's a pleasure, man.
So yeah, I do have a question for you, and it comes back to the topic of education.
Yeah.
So obviously you're a teacher.
Yeah.
And for me, from the outside, it appears that the education system is failing students in South Africa.
Yeah.
It's failing to prepare them for a fast-paced and constantly changing world. And it looks as if the quality of education is stagnated. And
Yeah.
if that is the case, it's extremely concerning, because education is perhaps the most powerful tool we have in South Africa.
Yeah.
This is, of course, an unqualified opinion, so I'm asking you as a teacher. But
Yeah.
am I correct in saying these things? And if I am, what do we do to address that?
Yeah. So it's a hard pill to swallow. Listening to that question, I mean, as I just go into the complexity of answering it, I realize that we can't dodge it and we can't sidestep it. The educational system is not up to par, and it is failing students, and it's not only in South Africa; it's worldwide. the educational system was designed to to measure products being produced, because that's what the economy required. Say with maths, they 1 + 1 = 2. That's a product. You get a product, you measure it. If you answer 2, you're right and you advance. If you answer 3, you're not right and you stay behind. That was the simple metric used to measure education. But if you think these days, what is required is not, something that's overused in education is the terms 21st century skills. Now, we talk about it and we have conferences about it, but we never actually ask ourselves how we're going to teach it. And that's the way, that's the issue that we're having. The curve of knowledge or skills required is moving at an accelerated pace, and education just can't keep up. So that's the unfortunate part of it. The fortunate part is that once we know what the problem is, we can actually dig into the solution. So and there are a bunch of cool institutions out there addressing this already, but it's something that's a passion of mine. That's exactly why I'm heading to San Francisco, is to get a bit of knowledge and expertise and a network going with regards to my educational dream. But yeah, the solution to it will be to start measuring or to start implementing these skills that we need in schools and start measuring them as well. For example, this is something that's actually close to your heart, is creativity. That's one of the 21st century skills required of students. Now, measuring creativity doesn't produce a single product like maths. It's not gonna, you're not gonna be creative plus creative equals more creative. Good, you well done. It's an entire process. Creativity is a process, and we need to start measuring that in schools. I mean, this is an extreme point of view from my side, but I think the solution would be like having science or maths. Don't just have an art subjects, but have a subject that is called creativity, that you can actually start implementing creative skill sets into the minds of young people. And creativity doesn't mean art. That's also an issue that we have, is that if you ask people or young people, are they creative, and they're like, no, I don't play instrument, or no, I don't paint. But that's not at all. You can be a creative scientist and a creative math. That's the essence of what creativity is to express the skill set that you have. So in a very long answer, that's what I think we can do to solve the educational sphere, and that's something that I believe you guys are working on as well with the Legos. The child in me is very excited to come and visit the company and go and play with the Legos, but that's an example as well. You guys are busy thinking of solutions to implement in the classroom. That's a bit outside of the box, and that's the same with me. I think we need to start solving the inequities in education with actually implementing these skills instead of just talking about them.
Yeah, that's a great answer to the question. It fills me with a lot of confidence knowing that we have people like you working on this problem. It's an important issue, and you do appreciate what you have to say there.
Thanks so much, man, and thank you so much for your time once again. I'm gonna, when I post this, I'll put your link for your website on and have people read that. How do we get you on social media? Are you on social media? Can the people follow you there?
I am. I don't use social media too much, but I'm quite active on Twitter.
Okay.
So Twitter is at Keagan Stokoe, KeaganStokoe. And you'll find me there tweeting about things just like we discussed today.
Yeah.
So, I'd be very keen to connect and chat with some people on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks for your time. I really appreciate it, man.
Great. Thank you very much for having me. It's a lot.
Cool.
Hopefully see you soon.
Shot, man. thanks to Keagan there. And that was the millennial difference. If you're a millennial too, please pop some comments. Let us know what you are doing to change the world. And we'll see you in episode 14 again. Stay safe. Cheers.